reasons we have more unhappy people is because of the myth that everyone can be everything. So if you think you can be, Larry Page or Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg, but you didn't make it, it's because you didn't work hard enough and then you feel lousy about yourself. Whereas the reality is, like, their talents intersected in the right way at the right time, and they put in the hard work for the thing that they were meant to create, and your talents are going to intersect in a completely different way, in a different place at a different time. And a lot of life is just searching for what it is that you're uniquely good at and where and when to apply that thing.
Your parents will say, do what's practical, and all the books will say, do what you love. I don't think either is actually quite correct. I think the way that I like to phrase it, which is nuanced, and it's important to get the whole thing, is you want to find what feels like play to you, but looks like work to others. So both of those are true. Both of those have to be simultaneously true. So feels like play to you is the what you're passionate about part. So you'll naturally be good at it, you're into it, you're curious about it, you enjoy doing it. But looks like work to others, that is equally important. That means that it has, in society, that thing is seen as work by other people, and therefore it is likely to have some value. So you want to find the intersection of those two. And that's not easy.
You just get older in life, you realize that it's all about long-term, long-term, long-term. All the classical virtues are really just saying to you, whether it's in the Bible or whether it's the Romans or whether it's the ancient Greeks or whether it's Stoics or whatever, they're all saying kind of just, look, focus on the long-term and don't focus on the short-term. Most of the vices, most of the so-called acts of the devil are basically temptations of cheap dopamine. And if you can avoid those and just focus on long-term rewards and payoffs, you will do better on average than someone who focuses on short-term. Gluttony is like, don't eat too much, because even though it tastes good now, you'll get sick later. Are basically saying optimize for the long-term instead of the short-term. And if you just want to do less 180s in your life, if you want to have better long-term thinking, optimize more for the long-term. As our favorite trainer, Jerzy Gregorek, says, hard choices, easy life. Easy choices, hard life. That's it. Right? So just, can you take the long-term view in anything? Compound interest applies everywhere. It applies in relationships, it applies in money, it applies in health and fitness. Can you change your habits to read the kinds of books that you think will serve you best in the long term, the foundational books? Can you change your eating habits so that you're eating healthy food as opposed to unhealthy food? Can you create an exercise routine that you can do every day or every other day so that it's a consistent part of your life? And so I think a lot of it boils down to just choosing the long term or the short term, and all the hacks, the good hacks, basically help make the long term choice palatable, or they help inspire you to kind of keep your eyes focused on the long term. So an example is, if you're doing something that you love, if you're running a business that you enjoy, it is probably going to be more fun than playing a video game. If you come home at night from work and your first instinct is to play a video game, you're suffering at work. You're working just as hard in the video game, but the rewards are all fake, because they're going to change the rules on you, or some 13-year-old kid on the internet will destroy you because they just play that video game all day long. And I used to be a hardcore video gamer. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I did learn playing games for sure. But at this point, at this age, I pick up a video game, I'm doing it to get away from suffering, and I'm not really getting anything out of it. I could play the video game of investing, or I could play the video game of starting companies, or I could play the video game of go and play tennis, and that would be good for my health. So it's good to find so I think a lot of it is about finding the thing that you can do that is fun for you, that looks like play, that feels like play to you, but looks like work to others, that you can do that sustains you for the long term. So for example, in foods, what you want to find is, you want to find what is the health food out there that other people consider healthy and is nutritionally healthy profile, but that I find tasty. Because if I can create those foods, if I can become a good cook and create great foods that I enjoy eating and I like them and I can eat them regularly, but they're actually super healthy, that's amazing. That's a hack now. Now I'm eating for the long term, but I'm not giving up too much of the short-term pleasure. The same way, being in a good relationship is going to beat watching porn. And having a good career or working an enjoyable job or hacking on some code that I enjoy is going to be far more productive than playing a video game. I don't want to sound preachy, but I will just say that my love for reading came from another one of my tweets is read what you love until you love to read. So just fall in love with the idea of reading itself. So it's okay to read the junk food stuff. Just fall in love with reading and eventually get bored of the simple stuff and you'll go to the more interesting stuff. And I love to read enough that I don't like watching TV. I don't watch movies. People start talking about shows that they're watching on Netflix or what have you, and I give them this empty look. I don't watch shows on Netflix. They're not interesting. It's far more interesting to me to go for a walk and be meditative, and I'll be in a very happy place, or to read a book which will be intellectually stimulating. And sure, once in a while, watch a movie with friends or with my wife, but it's a social thing. I'm doing it as a way of kind of sort of being on the same common ground as them. I would never watch a movie on my own unless maybe I was trapped in like a 15-hour airplane flight and I was really bored and I run out of everything else to do and I just want to zone out. Even then, I don't think I watch a movie anymore. So I just feel like a lot of it is like finding the hacks, finding the things that make the long term feel effortless to you, and then you win.